Greetings, my fellow normies. I hope you're all doing well today. Today we're going to discuss what's in the news with regards to Google and the antitrust case against it, and why it's important to you, to me, to everybody within the US, and maybe also those outside of the country as well too. I will say it's kind of about time that the US government has finally gone after Google. But when are they going to go after Facebook? When are they going to go after Twitter? And so on and so forth. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is that I'm not going against these companies for violating free speech or whatever that might be. My issue with these companies is they have become an uncontrollable and an out of control monopoly. And in the US, we do not allow monopolies, but these big tech companies have been able to do just that. Not only that, they don't hire Americans and stuff. They exploit the H-1B visa program, and that should upset every American, period. You know that. Americans have trained their replacements and stuff, and I'm sorry, that's just unacceptable and stuff. And yes, that also has to do with Congress. Congress is the one that created it. They're the ones that are responsible for doing it and all that. So let's move on here. So yes, it's a major suit, a major step. What does it actually mean though? So a few days ago, the Justice Department filed a landmark antitrust case against Google. The hotly anticipated, long-awaited lawsuit accuses Google of using its market dominance to force unfair contract terms of suppliers and competitors to the detriment of competition and the marketplace. So in other words, what I stated, that they stifle the free market of other competitors out there and stuff. You want to use something else besides Google? Use DuckDuckGo. And yes, I am using a Google product, which is YouTube and stuff. But I also have a BitChute and stuff. There are other ones out there like it. But the problem is that who controls the marketing and the advertising? The major player is Google. So these other competitors can't compete. And competition is good. Eliminating competition is bad. And that's what frickin' Google does. Microsoft does it. Facebook does it. Twitter does it. Name any company that doesn't do it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like the whole situation with TikTok. But that's another issue. TikTok's a national security issue because of the Chinese. So the article goes on. The suit might just be the biggest thing in antitrust since the DOJ sued Microsoft in the 1990s, or it might not. Even though the investigation that led here has been going for 16 months, a suit like this is in the beginning, not the end of the process. So here's everything we know, and more importantly, everything we still don't about it. What does the suit allege? So according to the suit, it focuses on Google's search engine and business, including search advertising and general search text advertising, which the DOJ alleges the company has monopolized for more than a decade. For years, Google has entered in exclusionary agreements, including tying agreements, and engaged in anti-competitive conduct to lock up distribution channels and block rivals. The DOJ writes in the suit. It goes on. Google pays billions of dollars each year to distributors, including popular devices manufacturers such as Apple, LG, Motorola, and Samsung. Major U.S. wireless carriers such as AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, browser developers such as Mozilla, Opera, and UC Web to secure default status for its general search engine, and in many cases to specifically prohibit Google's counterparties from dealing with Google's competitors. That I can understand. So in other words, let's break this down. So they pay other distributing companies, which are Apple that you use, like an LG phone or an Apple iPhone, a Motorola phone, a Samsung product or something like that. So when you purchase it, Google is on there as default. You know how like on your phone you get certain apps that you can't remove, like Facebook or Google, for example? Like I have an Android phone and stuff. I can't change the operating system. Why? Because they prohibit me from doing it. I'm sure there is a way to do it, but I have no idea how to do that, you know? Um, and in many of the cases, specifically prohibits Google's counterparts from dealing with other Google competitors in the space. So that is an unfortunate situation. Some of these agreements also require distributors to take a bundle of Google apps, including search apps, feature them on their devices in prime positions where the consumers, yeah, exactly what I said. So anything that you have a device, let's say an Amazon Fire Stick and stuff like that. Well, no, Amazon Fire Stick, it's not on there as default because Amazon's got its own proprietary apps and so on and so forth. So you actually have to put it on there yourself. Um, and you have to put on YouTube and stuff like that. Um, so although there are alternative search engines in the world, such as DuckDuckGo or Bing, the DOJ argues that Google's scale and anti-competitive behavior have at this point made it a dominance in the space that needs to be ratcheted back. Um, Google had a full response claiming that the DOJ filed a deeply flawed lawsuit that would do nothing to help consumers. Consumers, however, aren't the major target of the complaint. Competitors are. The complaint does not particularly address potential harms we, the end consumers, may experience as a result of this monopoly. Instead, it focuses on all harms Google has allegedly done to other businesses and in the digital supply chain. Really. So I've got several friends, like, for example, that have tried to build a search engine, but they've got one. They got actually a few. But the thing is you need revenue, and Google prevents that and stuff. It's just like when we're on like YouTube and stuff like that, and creators are creating content for the platform and stuff like that. Google has a stranglehold. If they don't like your content, they will shut you down. That's another thing too, as well, with these big companies and stuff like that. Especially like Facebook. Facebook's got a council and stuff like that of like a mix of international lawyers and stuff like that, and U.S. lawyers and stuff, and all that. But I know that they're private companies, but we have laws in this country. We have laws across other nations in the world. And Google, Facebook, Apple, even Amazon and stuff, dude, they're all monopolies. They all need to be. And the thing is, too, we are at fault. We're at fault. Our politicians are at fault. They're the ones that allowed it and stuff. And the other thing too is you got fucking politicians that have no idea what the hell they're talking about when they're talking about technology. Half these people are too fucking old. And stuff. Too many of these people have been in the goddamn Congress way too long in the first place too. So what do you think? What do you think the problem should be? What do you think the solution should be? So what the suggested situation is should Google be broken up? You know, is definitely a possibility, but also definitely not all guaranteed. Um, DOJ officials did not say they were looking to break it up, but they also didn't rule it out. And from what I can tell from the lawsuit, nothing is off the table. What are you going to do? You know what I'm saying? And what's to stop Google from, creating another, I don't know, apparatus to bring it under its wing, you know what I'm saying? And breaking it up, will that really pull Google back? You know what I'm saying? I mean, look how powerful they are. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just like kind of like Microsoft. Microsoft's got the operating system base locked up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what office space do you not go into and there's Microsoft operating system? It's been so long, there's no way you could introduce another one. You know what I'm saying? The other situation too is the suit is very vague about West Pacific's relief the government seeks. As a start, the DOJ asked the court to rule that Google broke the law and to order Google not to do anti-competitive things anymore. If that also asked the court to enter structural relief as needed to cure any anti-competitive harm, as well as any relief necessary and appropriate to restore competitive conditions in the market affected by Google's unlawful conduct. Basically just saying that they need to change their attitude towards anti-competitive positions and stuff like that. And I think Google's so big now, they don't need to rely on pushing everything they have. You know what I'm saying? In general, structural remedies tend to imply divestment or breakups. You're literally changing the structure of the company to fix the problem. In contrast, behavioral remedies imply requirements for or against specific behavior. As often seen with merger conditions, the case is likely to be extremely long and complicated by the end of it. Court may determine that, yes, Google needs to be broken up to restore competitive conditions, or may not. At this point, guessing is pretty much it. You know what I mean? Is this a big deal? I think so. I mean, we've had a lot of companies over the decades be broken up. Microsoft, for example, back in the 90s, AT&T back in the 70s and 80s. There's been over time and stuff, and all that. But while Google is being broken up, what about Apple? What about Amazon? What about Facebook? You know what I'm saying? What about all these other companies that buy up little companies so they have no competition? You know what I'm saying? And the other concern with this too is that it's mainly 14 or 15 conservative state attorney generals that are bringing this, taking this to the courts. And the thing is Democrats also agree with this, so I don't know why they're not on board with this either. Another thing too is that Europe is again actively investigating Google as well, and breaking antitrust laws in that region as well. So Google's fighting on multiple fronts, and I know that they are really pushing for a certain party to win the election on November 3rd and stuff, because all of this will basically be stopped, you know what I'm saying, and all that. But there's a lot of things. I mean, how political is this? I don't know and stuff. I think it's kind of strange that all of a sudden it comes out after almost 4 years of nothing being done about it under the current administration and stuff. So I kind of find it kind of odd. I'm wondering if it is a little political, which I wouldn't be surprised, but because we all know that Google is trying to manipulate the elections. And I know that for a fact. The other thing too is that many need to realize too that if Google is found to be manipulating or influencing the election, that we have laws on the books that would allow the US government to seize Google, to seize Twitter. And you know what happens then? They get broken up. They get sold off in pieces. Their executives get arrested. And this has happened before. During World War II, against a certain government that American companies were supporting militarily, and it's a national security issue. And it also happened several times during the Cold War as well too. So there's precedents for that happening. And I'm sorry, but these tech companies are out of control. They're acting as if they're own sovereign nations. They might be private companies, but they're acting more than what they are, and they need to be put in their place. That's my opinion of it. All right, let me know what your thoughts are down below. I really appreciate you all. We've gotten 3 new subscribers. I want to thank you and those who have subscribed. I want you to share, subscribe, and like and stuff. Let me know if there's anything that you would like me to cover and stuff like that. If you would like me to cover more things like this and stuff, give me a little commentary, what your thoughts are, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we're running up to about 16 minutes. Y'all take care of my fellow normies. I'm out.